hear the music?
You can hear the music through the...
Yeah. All right, man, I'm here with you.
All right.
Yeah, that's one of my few opportunities to get on this side of the camera, and so I just, want to kind of acknowledge that I'm here. I'm in the seat.
Yeah, they know what you look like now.
I think they know what I look like before. Yeah. All right, what do you got?
So, all right, Brian and Brian here.
Silicon Valley Impact.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of swag.
Oh, yeah.
We have it in the studio for those of you.
We got hats and cups and books, and so people bring us gifts. It's cool.
But this is a special moment, and we want to continue to encourage this moment. But we got some swag sent to us, and I want to thank Jeffrey Fiddleman and Company, CEO of Jeffrey is the CEO of Fiddleman and Company. So let's take a look. We got
okay, sure. What do you got?
One of these famous unboxing.
I wish I had a
All right, what do we do here? Unboxing. How does this thing work here? All right, nice.
Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey, thank you, man, for sending this. If you want to be a part of the unboxing at Silicon Valley Impact, man, send us some swag. Love to get some swag. All right.
Oh, okay. I see a T-shirt.
Got a T-shirt, extra large. All right, I'll wear this on one of the shows.
Have we had this person on the show before?
No, but we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just because he sent us a T-shirt?
Yeah. So
can I see this box?
Yeah,
I think there's more in here.
Stuff in here.
Yeah.
So Fiddleman and Company, Jeffrey, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. I'll be wearing that. What do you got? Oh, we got water bottle.
You got a pen. You got a Camelback water bottle. Logoed, and that's it.
Love it.
Huh.
All right.
Sweet.
Unboxing.
I wish I had my button in front of me. I'd give him some applause.
Yeah, we love the swag. We'll wear this on the show. If you have swag that wants to be shown on the show, send it to us.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah. Brian and Brian here, Silicon Valley Impact. Tell your friends.
Yeah, follow us.
Follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, right? And let everybody know.
Yeah, new shows every Tuesday. See you soon.
All right. Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. And now, please give a warm welcome to your host, Brian Sparks!
Yes, let the music sink into your soul. And Brian, you reached deep into your diaphragm for that one. Let it rip, my brother. Let it rip.
Everything I have for Silicon Valley Impact, Brian. Everything I have.
I love it.
My
All right.
soul, my spirit, everything is for you. All here for you, Brian.
That's 2 weeks of pent up and now moment for you. So I love it. Thank you. To everyone else, welcome to Silicon Valley Impact. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. The purpose of the show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so you can make an impact
in your own. Oh,
yes.
I beat you to it. You took a nice big pause there.
Yeah, I was just going to let you have it.
Oh, wow. I really jumped on it that time.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm super amped.
You guys miss each other.
Yeah,
it seems like.
It's been a couple of weeks.
We're starting to finish each other's
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Almost had it.
So close.
All right. So, yes, I have been at, the audience has not missed a beat, but I have been at Transform in Vegas, which is an incredible conference around people leadership, startup, innovation, investing, and the HR space and how to build great communities. So I love being a part of that. Samara Jaffe, who's been on the show, she leads that charge. And let me tell you, there are some great people. If you didn't have a chance to go to that, check it out next year. Go to transform.us and take a look at what they have to offer. Great community. And speaking of communities, Brian, we have two great community builders with us today. We have Rohan Brown and my good friend Bill Berry. Good to have you both here. Yeah. Give it to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with
season 1, Bill Berry. I mean, episode 1, Bill Berry.
Season 1, episode 1, Bill Berry. Yeah.
Is this the second season yet?
Oh,
this
yeah.
Second season, yeah.
Oh, is this second season, episode 1? I will take that as meaning.
No, this is like actually show. Oh, we're getting close to show 50.
You weren't that. You didn't make the cut for episode 1, season 2, Bill. We should have next year.
Have you noticed you could barely get in the room? Yeah, that was.
Yeah. We had you sitting outside for a little while. Yeah. Have you not been watching the show? We're almost on. We're getting close, Brian, to episode 50. I think we have to do the count. So we got that coming up.
Yeah, we got episode 50 coming up.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very
much.
And we have some great supporters coming out. We're going to be announcing those soon. But with that being said, I definitely wanted do the intro for our guest, Bill. I mean, without introduction, we're going to pause on you because I think there's nobody in this ecosystem who doesn't know you, but I definitely want to introduce Rohan Brown. Buddy, good to see you, Rohan.
I appreciate the invite. I haven't been in the Bay Area for a couple of years, so glad I'm up here for you. Yeah,
this is so good. So, I mean, we almost did one of those things, Brian, where we started the show before the show. Rohan's got a lot of ground to cover. You and I jumped on a Zoom call probably a few months ago and had a quick talk. And really my vetting of people being on the show is just, are you cool? And you tipped the scales.
Well, and before the show, I mean, we're just like, oh, wow. So, I mean, Rohan's got a lot of layers that he's going to roll out.
Yeah, and then we had to tell him to duck because I think between him and Bill Reichert of Pegasus Ventures, those two are the tallest who've been in this studio. But I think you've got him on that.
I said, what are you, 6'3", 6'4"? He goes, please.
Come on, man. 6'6". I'll take that.
Yeah. So our audience gets to know a little bit about what you're up to, Rohan. Give a little quick intro about who you are and what you've been up to.
Absolutely. So I like to think of myself as a startup ecosystem builder. And the way I do it is working with unique stakeholders within the market, particularly with this new endeavor that I built about a year and a half ago called Pitch Mayhem, which is how we got introduced. March Madness meets Shark Tank. It's a way to get tech talent to move and relocate to the state of Nevada. With that, I'm working with the Governor's Office of Economic Development, a few of the local econ agencies in Reno and Las Vegas, as well as the research universities, UNR and UNLV. The goal really is just to cultivate the ecosystem and make the state be seen as the new tech hub.
I love that. And I know some of these cities all over the country are hungry for engagement. I think Bill and I have been engaging with the city of San Jose. They're hungry because people are coming to certain locations throughout the U.S. where a majority of their customers are.
Right.
And I mean, Silicon Valley, people come here to raise, but then it's really their responsibility to go back out and find out where their customers are. And then that's where they kind of lay their roots, and Nevada is engaging. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll come back to all the things that you're working on, Rohan, but definitely want to bring in my buddy, Bill Barry. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
All right. For those in our audience who don't know who you are, I don't know who out there doesn't, give a little intro about what you're working on.
Yeah, it's, yes, thank you, Brian. Good to be back. Bill Barry, CEO of Ignite GTM. We are a go-to-market advisory company. We started this a few years ago as, helping early stage founders, C to Series A, put together the go-to-market strategies. Let's get a little bit more traction. Let's get tighter on the product market fit before they start throwing sales marketing bodies at it. But over the years, we've, evolved. We have an investment side where we have a fund of funds, and that's investing in Silicon Valley AI. And then we have our events business. Not that we want to be an events company, but we're definitely getting pulled into more strategic events around the enterprise and neck deep around AI, almost AI everything right now. So yeah, and we're happy to help. We did 60 events last year, and about a third of them we ran. But the rest of them, we supported other community partners.
Yeah, and you've been really good at that in terms of bringing others in. And you've got a big event coming up May 2nd. You want to talk a little bit about that at the top of the hour?
Yeah, so our flagship event is AI Infra Summit, and that's going to be on May 2nd in Mountain View on the beautiful Microsoft campus. The original thesis on putting that together was, GTC was such a huge event in San Jose last year and the year before. And then, we need a GTC for everybody else because, the world doesn't revolve around NVIDIA. There's a huge ecosystem. So I called up my buddies at Supermicro AMD. Let's start, putting together our summit. Mm-hmm. And then now we're on our third show. And it's really growing well. And we're growing and gaining the trust of the enterprise. And what we're seeing is that we're bridging that conversation between enterprise, big tech, and then also the developers and investors in the ecosystem.
I love that. And what you've become very proficient in is the infrastructure of AI. So we'll go down that rabbit hole in a little bit. But again, I want to thank you both for being here. I think the huge overlap of all of us is we love this ecosystem. We love building a community for the ecosystem. I know, Bill, you and I, we love go-to-market strategy, but yet there's a lot, as you were saying, that goes into that before throwing the bodies at that. But Rohan, let's look at your journey because there's a lot to cover with what you got going on. One of the first questions I've asked you, and I always ask everybody else, is you fell in love with this ecosystem, and what is it about the startup community that you love? Because we're going to go into the March Madness stories a little bit, but let's talk about your love affair for this ecosystem first. Why do you love it so much?
I just like, one, I like being around creative people. I like being around people who have absurd, crazy ideas. And it's all about being at the forefront of innovation. All these emerging technologies that are coming to the market, I just want to be around it. I want to learn more about it. I want to be around the people. Just to say like, oh, like I heard about that company years ago and now they're a household name. Like that within itself, just being in the know, excites me. So being able to help founders come up with ideas, bring their ideas to market, that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that sentiment of being creative and innovative and being a part of that. And so you're creating, speaking of creating, you're creating this Pitch Mayhem.
Yeah.
And this is in partnership with, as you were saying, Nevada. How did that come about? What is it really, what's its end, and how's it going now?
So a little bit of a backstory. I was a tech founder myself. Obviously, I feel like that's how it all starts, right? Was building a platform. It was like the Starbucks app for bars, being able to order a drink and pick it up at the bar without dealing with the crowds and whatnot. And the play really was to collect enough data for alcohol brands so that they can understand their consumption patterns of their consumers. It wasn't really a play to charge the end user or the retail location. The alcohol brands have the money. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened, kind of ruined everything. And then from that realized, you know what, I know a lot of investors, I know a lot of founders. I don't know if I can curse.
Yeah, you're good to let it rip.
Okay, let it rip.
It's hard as fuck to raise capital.
Whoa, that's too much. I got
It's hard as fuck.
Hold on, it's canceled, Rohan.
It's hard as fuck to raise capital. So it's like, okay, how can I create ways to get founders in front of the right investors and vice versa? So I went off and started recruiting founders from across the country through this platform that I created with a partner of mine called Road Pitch. We would recruit founders from across the country and literally put them in front of investors, at least around 12 a day in different cities. So we were in Boston to New York, Philly, Baltimore, DC within a 5-day span, and kind of just did speed dating and just got them in front of people. That got us all the way to the West Coast. And we ended the tour. We were debating, like, should we go to San Diego or should we go to Vegas? Something told me, let's just try Vegas. I've never heard of anything as far as tech coming out of Vegas. Let's move in that direction. And I was fortunate enough to meet Zach Miles. He runs the UNLV Office of Economic Development. Said, I don't understand how Vegas is a tier 1 city, like globally known, but its tech infrastructure is like in its infancy. Like there's no pipeline.
It's very transient though.
Yeah. True. Very true. Yeah. So I was just like, what's going on here? And started to do some research, met some people, talked around and said, you know what? I think I can build something here to attract more tech talent, to do some cross-pollination and get companies from California, New York, Florida to come and build here that align with what, the focal points of the market are. So that's where Pitch Mayhem came about. Of course, the March Madness meets Shark Tank, slogan. I was a basketball player. I played in March Madness. We were in the Sweet 16. So it kind of just was very on brand. Yeah. And I just went with it.
That's okay. So we can go any direction there. I mean, on one hand, what comes to mind for me is a lot of people have big ideas, right? But you had a big idea that required pulling in a lot of stakeholders, and so how was it that you engaged these stakeholders in order to get the momentum that you got? Now, granted, you had that. You mentioned. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You had the background. You had the momentum of playing ball. And we're going to get to that for those of you who are sports fans and interested in that. And it is March Madness, so we got to tap into that. But yeah, how did you get buy-in from so many people to get the momentum you got to go to multiple cities and then create this hub in Nevada?
So with the other markets, it took a lot of research. You do like a lay of the land in a sense. You think about your pillars: academia, econ agencies, government, grassroots stakeholders, nonprofit communities. You make a list, you identify the people, and then you do the cold outreach. So that's what we did throughout the whole country. And knowing that I already did the work for Vegas, I already know who to speak with.
and how to speak with them.
And how to speak with them. So it was easy from there. And then being consistent, relentless, somewhat of a pest. It is what it is. They start to realize, okay, you are serious. Because there's a lot of people that go to Vegas and say, I can do this, I can do that. They do one event and then you never see them again. So we've been at this for about 1.5 years now. We have another event coming up in May. So what I'm hoping to do is really use this as an example that can be replicated as a new model to get research universities and econ agencies to work together to attract tech talent to overlooked markets. These emerging ecosystems that are trying to be like Silicon Valley, but they're taking their own persona, their own DNA, and kind of creating their own thing and coming up with their own tech ecosystem.
So they're making their own home team, if I can kind of...
Pretty much.
Yeah, say with that. So what's next? So now you have the Mayhem, it's in full swing. What does the entity look like now, and then what is next?
So the entity right now, the goal for me, I think this at scale, what it looks like is partnering up with state venture arms, universities, econ agencies to use the tournament as an inbound marketing engine to get tech talent to their markets. Outside of that, to really blow it up to scale, I think this would make a great TV series, a content series, no different from Shark Tank, just trying to get the information and the people out there and trying to just make it more than what it is.
I love it. And what I really love is really the structure. So you listening at home, listen how Rohan kind of described how to put together your points of contact and start cultivating those relationships. And that took a while. That wasn't just...
It took a minute.
Yeah. And I think what can be very discouraging for a lot of people is they go and, whether they're investing or they're looking to raise or they're looking to make partnerships, is they have this expectation that I can make one phone call and there's going to be movement. But you really had to stay consistent.
Yeah. And
really, Bill, as you've built Ignite, you've experienced the same thing where you have to continuously show up, and that's what you did.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I love that. So, Bill, let's leap to you for a second. Over the last year, last time you were in here, you were not an events company. You guys have launched the AI infra, done over 60 events. In building your community, which you have continued to scale, what has been some of your challenges? Because I don't think enough founders or even a lot of VCs who have yet to raise that first fund know the importance of doing what Rohan has done and what you have done over the last year, respectively, for both of you. There's a lot that goes into that in order to get the traction that you guys have now.
Yeah. So is your question like, what are the challenges from a community building standpoint?
Yeah.
There's a lot. One is a resource challenge, right? You only have so much time and money. And by the way, we also have a business to run. We have a consulting business. That's our core. And, yes, we put together events and they're efficient biz dev and branding and connection vehicles, right? Out of all the channels, you can't replace a handshake. You can't replace that connection. And you're building that with that spirit. So it does take a lot of time. So it's very resource intensive, but I think you have to be very mission driven about why we're doing this. If it's truly of service, it will show.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of events coordinators or producers out there. You can tell that it's just an event, and it starts, and I think it starts with hospitality in the middle of that. Right. So like, how do you feel walking in through the door? So you can almost see the brains behind it, right? The design behind it. So, and other than that, I think the other part is keeping that balance of we're building an ecosystem, but it's not just about events. It's not just about getting people together, but then how do we get people focused into their mission, right? Time every day ticks. And we were talking about this earlier, but for startup founders, they have a limited time window to execute their idea. Things are moving faster now. They were moving fast before. So, we do see a lot of founders. We try an idea, it kind of cycles out. We didn't get enough momentum on that, and we still support them through our system. But it's, we want to see people grow up. We want to see people succeed, and when they do, I think they can then contribute back to the community and continue to grow. Right.
Yeah.
So last year was a tough year for venture.
Yeah.
In general, so I think that was probably another big headwind.
So I have a question, and I may be missing the mark, but I've experienced this. A lot of people are heads down business and they don't build the ecosystem effectively. Then there are others who just get stuck building ecosystem and don't know how to make the transition to business. How have you both created the relationships that you have, got momentum, build trust, and at the same time had the capacity to also make it about business? Because though it may come second nature to you, to me, and some of our listeners, I don't think a lot of people are aware of how difficult that is to have both and have them working seamlessly together. So how did you make that leap from building trust and say, okay, yeah, this is about business as well?
I think it's being upfront, and I like what you just said. It's like there's a lot of event producers out there, like they're just doing things to get people in the room, which is extremely important. But at the end of the day, we're here to make money. So figuring out what the business model is, coupled with the ecosystem building, is essential, and that's something that I that I thought about from the jump. So I am working with the universities and the government from a business perspective, which enables me to then focus on the ecosystem building.
So you're pretty much just upfront and you set the containers
Absolutely.
right away. I love that, Bill. Because you're constantly saying, you've almost made a joke of it. Is like you've thrown so many events, and you will say we're not an events company, and that's kind of taken hold. We're not an events company. So how have you mixed relationships and business?
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier. There's a lot of soul searching. I think we go through these phases of our lives. Are we moving the right direction? So then there was a phase of my life when I was, is sales the right thing for me? And I had to really think through that. And I was in sales, and I was, and it really how I reconciled it in my mind is that as long as I'm doing things of service, it's to help other people, not to trick them into buying something that I'm selling. It goes a lot easier. It becomes more natural, right? And then early on in my career, I also, said that if you run into me, holding a baby in my sweats at 2 a.m. at Walgreens, I'm the same guy in the boardroom the next day, right? There's not a really you have to resolve that. So then you have harmony inside. So then when it comes down to ecosystems, everybody knows that it takes resources to turn these lights on. It takes resources to eat dinner, right? And then so it takes resources, and just being upfront about it is like, hey, we'd love to do this gathering, and the bar tab's open as long as the sponsor's budget handles it. And we're here. We invest our time in to make this happen, right? So I think being upfront and just being clear with yourself first, as far as it is a business, and we're balancing this ecosystem building with the actual business behind it, and getting the startup founders to focus that it is a business, right? We're not just randomly shooting the ball out in the court. It's a game. Right now, you're on the clock, and you either do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And we're providing value. So when you're providing value, there's not the hesitation of, okay, where's the business, or how am I going to make money? We're providing value. In exchange, we should be compensated. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's the game, and I love that. And I'm speaking more towards those who are heads down in the business and don't see possibly room for building community. There needs to be that heart shift, that mind shift of how do I do both? And I think you two exemplify how to balance the two.
The other part of it is great ideas dies in the shadows. And there are probably great things that were invented that we never remember seen because maybe they didn't get it out, the story out, right? So being plugged into the ecosystem, because eventually to make it a business, you have to be in the market. So you better be plugged into the market even before your product is ready. Because what are you building your thesis on otherwise, right?
Yeah. So how do Rohan, from your experience, and Bill, from your experience, a lot of startups are listening. How does a startup build relationships with the market and their investors before they actually deploy? I mean, what does that look like in terms of timeline? I see a lot of people who are stealth, right? In stealth mode, and they're not engaging. And all of a sudden now there's a product ready to go. And then they start, I've got this investment opportunity for you, or, hey, market, take a look at this, trust me, buy it. But they haven't done the work to build the trust. What thoughts have you given to the runway for relationship building before you actually go to market?
It's no different from practicing before the game. You can't just show up to the game and think everything's going to work out. You have to put in the work. So when it comes to the business and networking side, I tell founders all the time, You need to build your network. You need to go to networking events. You need to do some cold outreach. You need to start getting people familiar with who you are, because they need to be able to trust you. They need to be able to know you're authentic. They need to be able to understand what your persona is. Then the business side comes into play, because at the end of the day, we're humans. Business is done with relationships. So I always tell founders, like, get out there, like, make the connection, shake hands. Like, it is a must. It makes the product side, the business side, that much easier.
Yeah, and then there's the output of you have relationships. Get out there, so then you can start building these relationships, planting seeds, because one day you'll need the fruit kind of idea, right? But the other part is, that's, I think, even more important, is getting out there so then you could practice your relationship building muscles, right? Because if you've been in the lab for 12 months and you go to the networking event, it kind of shows. It looks like, you're kind of stiff, and it's hard to, things don't flow as well, right?
That guy in the corner?
That guy in the corner.
He's been in the lab 12 months straight.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah. And then if you're trying to make your ask of the market, you're trying to make a withdrawal in a sense.
Right.
And you don't have a balance.
Right.
You don't have any positive balances out in the market to make any withdrawals. Things get tougher.
That social credibility, that social currency.
Capital.
Yes.
That's right.
I love that. That's, I mean, for our audience, hear that. You've got to invest before you actually ask for the investment in return. So I love that insight. I want to, we're coming upon our halfway point, but real quick, I want to backtrack a little bit, Rohan, and what kind of positioned you for this, because you've been thinking about getting into startup. I mean, as far back as you can remember, you were mentioning before the show, and you chose not to take on the basketball life, is what you put. But let our audience know a little bit, like, when the seed was planted and what were you doing at the time? Because I think this is pretty cool. I'm a sports fan. And then the fact that you rolled in here and said, hey, I've been to the Sweet 16. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I didn't see that one coming. But you have a college experience that's pretty unique. But tell us about how you were splitting this, where this seed for startup came, and what you were doing in college for our audience.
So in college, my first major was mass communication. I was supposed to be a sports broadcaster. Fortunate enough, I redshirted my first year, so I had 5 years of free education.
Yeah.
Shout out to Salle University.
Yeah, LaSalle.
And I graduated within 3 years, and my academic advisor said, you might as well just go for your MBA. Like, just do it. And I took the shot, did the summer classes, did what I had to do, and was able to leave with that MBA. But during that time, actually getting into, my graduate degree, I was working with my professor of entrepreneurship and had that idea for the Starbucks app for bars. And we would meet literally at Starbucks every week on a random day after I graduated, and he would rip my idea apart consistently. Like, no fluff. Like, this shit is trash. Try again.
I'm out.
Like, you're gonna get eaten alive. But prior to that, like, I never was like a ball is life. Like, I used basketball to get a free education and get out of my situation where I grew up. I never wanted to play professionally. I did get offered to try out to play in Spain as well as in Iceland, but I knew several people who graduated before me. It's a tough market out there. You go out there, you're making good money, but 5, 7, 10 years down the line, you're trying to come back and actually get a job. It goes back to the networking and social currency. Like, it's going to be a struggle coming back. So for me, I was like, I got my MBA for free, had a great college career. I'm just going to jump into the workforce, and more particularly in the finance tech space. And then plus having that experience going to the Sweet 16, like, I got my fix. Like, we beat some great teams.
You got your ring.
I got my ring.
Yeah.
Did they let you cut down some of the net? You still got that?
No, we didn't do that. We got a ring. We were, the best team in Philly at the time. We were ranked top 25. We beat VCU. We beat Villanova. We beat Butler. They were all ranked top 20. In the tournament, we beat Boise State, Kansas State, Ole Miss. And then we recently just got inducted to the Hall of Fame in February.
The team did, or you did?
The team did. We all got inducted February 1st of this year.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when we come back, we're going to take our little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more to Rohan and Bill, and we're going to talk about some of the startups that you've experienced that make the cut to be on to show or kind of rise above the rest that you've encountered with, and then we're going to talk with Bill about AI infra, which I want to geek out on. So I'm excited to talk about that. And we're back in a minute. All right, welcome back to the show. We're here. I just learned to talk today, Brian. I'm tripping over my own tongue.
You're doing a great job so far, Brian. I mean, for somebody who just learned.
Yeah, thank you. English is my second language.
Seems like your third today, maybe. No, you're doing great. Don't sweat.
Thanks, buddy. You're here to lift me up all the time.
Yeah,
we're here with
everybody loves you, Brian. We're all here for you.
Keep going. We're here with Rohan Brown and Bill Berry, and we're having great conversations about startup. We're going to talk a little bit about AI infra, but during the break, Rohan, you were chatting with Bill, and I wanted you to bring your question to the audience because I think it could open up a great conversation about what they may be interested as well as you are. So go ahead, and I'll let you launch into that.
Got you. A little bit of a backstory. So, with AI tools that are coming out, it's easier to go to market, build products, have your proof of concept. And I was speaking with a founder. He's out of the Midwest. I'm not going to name drop or anything, but he was saying, I don't need to raise capital anymore. It's not necessary. Anything that I need to do, build, sales team, I can have AI do it. There's no need to raise capital. I completely disagree. I see where he's coming from. A lot more things would be easier to do. Problems that are more trivial will be easier to solve, but I believe you'll still need to raise capital. I would love to hear your opinion.
Yeah. It's true that the goalpost has moved. For seed stage, investors want to see a lot of traction, like $500K of ARR and $1 million. So then it gets to this idea that if you can get to that point, maybe you don't need to raise venture capital, right? Which logically could make sense if you just look at that in a vacuum. However, we don't build businesses in a vacuum. And you need resources, that's clear. Just like lights and dinner, you need partners and then eventually staff and a development team, right? Marketing. So those are the things that you have to kind of consider. Yes, you could do it alone, but by that time, most likely the chances are the market has shifted because there's somebody just like you that did raise capital and they are running as a 10-person team at 100x speed, and there's just no chance that you have in the market.
Okay. I literally said that to the guy.
Is that what you were saying?
He was like, you're wrong.
I'm going to kick the hornet's nest and play devil's advocate, see what we can come up with. Not that I necessarily believe what's about ready to come out of my mouth, but let's see what happens. So I believe the day is coming when the solopreneur will be the first unicorn. There'll be a unicorn solopreneur. I believe that that's coming. So that's one. I believe that the spend on what you raise may be different. So what you may be spending on infrastructure, or what you may be spending on hires or other things to keep the lights on, because you're going to always have to keep the lights on.
Right.
That may shift. It may even shift to the way of what we were talking about earlier, where you're going to have to take the time to build relationships, because you could build something great in your garage and you may be impressed with it, but everyone's out there promoting and making relationships and doing things to be top of mind, where all the competition is now going, and that's going to take the spend. Whereas, I don't think you can just build something and then they'll come.
Right.
I think those are one-offs and those are unique, and that's what you kind of hope for. But truth of the matter is, for the masses, and to be that first unicorn as a solopreneur, the spend is going to have to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Another way that I explain this to a lot of founders is let's accept that 90% of you will not be here next year. This is a 90% fail rate for early stage startups. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now if you believe that you have a 10% survival rate, every percent of survival rate matters, right? And social capital matters, and resources matters, building your brand matters, right? So you are kind of, trying to get that 10% to be 11%. So it's not in a bubble. And if I think they believe that it is, then, it's just part of the journey. I think there's a version of all of us here that believe that we all could have taken off in the world when we didn't need anybody else, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. Did you have something?
No, based off what he just said, I learned that real quick. You need you need help. It takes a village. You can't do everything by yourself. No, I don't care how advanced AI gets. You're gonna need some type of cooperation from other people.
So let's parlay that into my next question for you, and then Bill, we're going to take a look at AI infra. So you're creating the Pitch Mayhem. What kind of startups are you looking for that would kind of fit the mold, that would be a part of this? I mean, we're talking about, there's someone coming along and says, I don't need to raise capital, I'm by myself. Traditionally, that may not, rise to the level of, okay, you have what it takes, you have the insight necessarily. But right now, and that's not to say that wouldn't come along eventually, but right now, what are you guys looking for in terms of the best startups?
Absolutely. I think the cool thing about Pitch Mayhem, and as it grows and works for other markets, other states, it's really whatever the focal points of the government is. So for in the state of Nevada, the Silver State, up in Reno, it's more deeper technologies. They want climate tech, clean tech, autonomous vehicles, any solutions around the lithium loop, because Northern Nevada has the only lithium loop in the country. So as we make this green transition, you're going to need that infrastructure, as well as life science, biotech. Down south in Vegas, they're more entertainment focused. So hospitality, tourism, esports, e-gaming, sports performance, and they are starting to get interested in healthcare tech. But those are the type of verticals that the state wants to focus on at the pre-seed seed level. So they do want to start early. They are making the push. They want to be able to cultivate the ecosystems in Reno and Las Vegas. The earlier, the better.
I love that. And so, I mean, those are the sectors that that may be attractive to this particular market. But what would you look for? So say, for example, some of these startups are coming along and they're starting to pitch to you. What in your experience, what are you looking for from those startups that would kind of be moved along in the chain?
Personally, competitiveness. And I guess that comes from the sports background. I love a competitive founder. You have some founders that are like, pitch competitions are a waste of time. I don't want to have to compete. I think pitch competitions are an opportunity to shine. It's a great way to get in front of the right people, show off your skills, show off what you've been working on. You have a lot of founders that feel like they're a little too cool. So I like a competitive founder. I like a founder that has some grit, and of course, confident, but not like the arrogant confident, like the humble confident, So like that's the type of founder I really like. And I know that if I have somebody like that, I put them in front of somebody, I'll feel comfortable with leaving them in the room and having them talk to the investor.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I love sports, and those who can adjust at halftime when the game isn't going their way, they're coachable, they're competitive, they don't give up, they're going to play until the clock winds down. I think those are qualities that translate perfectly to startups. So I agree.
And play to make your teammates look better. I find that to be a very important quality, that second half especially, right? Like, I'm going to play to make my teammates shine.
Hey, Brian, you're doing a really good job.
Thanks, buddy.
That's why I'm here, man. I'm here for our star, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need our star player to look good. You need to shoot baskets, Brian. Just shoot.
I'm speechless right
Half
now.
court.
Just throw them up, man. We're here to rebound for you.
With the love in the room. I love it. Yeah, I love you guys. We're going to have a hug. We're going to go to commercial. So, all right. So I definitely want to give a little time to, Rohan, you talked a little bit about infrastructure in Nevada. Let's double click, Bill, on infrastructure. You have wrapped your mind around this need in the world for infrastructure. I mean, we have all these tools coming out that's going to require energy. It's going to require a lot of output. And you are putting your focus on picks and shovels, is what you called it. Give us a little breakdown on what AI infra is. A lot of people, again, we're not going to assume that people know everything about AI because nobody knows everything. But from your perspective, what is AI infra?
Yeah, good question. So we've been explaining this with just a simple model, which is like if you take a look at everything that's happening in AI in these three layers, let's call the middle layer the foundational layer, right? So DeepSeek, Llama, there's a drama about DeepSeek a little while ago, but those are not just, but they're big LLM models, and they really requires a certain type of company to compete in there. And the more competition that we have there, it's only going to accelerate and democratize the layer above it, which is applied AI.
Okay, and so for those of you listening, LLMs, large language models, and they're pulling their information from where?
They build their models, right? And they pulled it for different sources. They have different training datas. But yeah, you notice a difference when you talk to Anthropic or Claude versus GPT. It's a different model, right? It's a different structure. So we feel that those are the big guys are going to duke it out at that layer, and it's good if they do, because that will just make things a lot more accessible for the layer above, which is applied AI, and that is AI that you actually see being integrated to certain verticals and industries and use case. Very specific. It can't just be like a co-pilot to run your business. No, this thing reconciles invoices and saves 20 hours per week or something like that, right? So we're seeing a lot of that. We're doing events where we're doing CXO roadshows. We're talking to the different verticals and being able to say, okay, here's the use cases. You will, for retail, you're going to implement computer vision and this kind of technology and stacked with this kind of technology. And that's really important. And in all that, the more activity that we have in the applied AI,
and this is the top level. So for those who are listening, you're looking at the top level.
And then it drives demand also for the bottom layer, which is infrastructure, right? Because it needs to have something to run on. And infrastructure is broad term, so it can mean anything from land and power, that data centers go on top, or up the rack, compute, networking, and then it can go into the data layers and all the way to the application layer, the software layer at the very, very top, right? So that's a lot of layers, and the interesting part, and the reason why it's the pendulum swings are in effect here. We went through 15 years where cloud era, cloud native, AWS, Google, GCP, has made infrastructure easy. It's on demand. Anytime you want it, you can just spin it up. And if you're a startup, you don't have to pay for it. So it's great for startups to work in the beginning. But once things start scaling out, we're talking about like a 5x minimum difference between a public infrastructure and having your own data centers, right? It's kind of like if you don't have a car, you can Uber everywhere. That makes sense. And then if you start Ubering too much, then you kind of start thinking about maybe I should buy a car, right? Yeah. But now imagine that you're about to start a business and it's a delivery business, a fleet. And then will you use Uber for your fleet? Probably not. It will break the bank and it'll just break the business model, right? So for us, we all need to now come back together, understand how all the layers are working together. And there's so much new technology that is not coming back together the same way. We have different Lego box pieces now. And then, so it's really important for all the kind of the big stakeholders, the enterprise, the developers, the big tech friends, to come together and say, okay, how are we going to be building this next wave, right? So that's really kind of the underpinning thesis for AI Infra Summit.
I love it. And so you're bringing together all these individuals who continuously are building up the actual hardware that can support all these different layers that are going to go on top. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Land, power, hardware, everything. Yeah.
And so what do you see moving forward for your company in solving this problem in terms of that lower level?
Your land and power, lower level? Okay. Well, so there's a ton of interest right now for a lot of real estate investors that are traditional real estate investors that want to get into the data center business. So I feel like there's at least a good influx of capital coming in. Now we need to connect them with the actual operators and landowners and people that have natural gas, and how do we actually build power plants? And we're getting a lot more of those conversations. But all of that is just a thesis if we can't connect it back to the market, right? So for us, being able to say like, hey, we hold these events, and just like one of the greatest benefits of AI Infra Summit is that I get to talk to a lot of the smartest people, right, for speaking opportunities, and really hear how they're seeing the world and how they're solving the problems. So I feel like we have a pretty good pulse as far as where the puck is going. So you connect that with all the bottom layers, down to land and power, all the way down to here's a GPU cloud that wants to move into your data center kind of conversation.
So you again with building the ecosystem, you're able to talk to the smart people and start to put together the best play to kind of move forward. So I mean, you have the hardware out in front of you, you have the people out in front of you. You're kind of like a mad scientist, seeing how all this plays together, and then where, as you're saying, where the puck is going towards the future. Why do you think this is a problem to be solved now?
So we are in an arms race that we can't opt out of, which is AI. You know, from a business standpoint, it's going to be a competitive pressure, right? If you don't do it, your competitors are going to be doing it, right? So they're always going to be looking for the solution. And then there's a big gap of understanding because we went through the cloud era, and then nobody knows how all these pieces together. So I think it's really important for us to come together and have a dialogue and then start that collaboration. We're in a new land. And then if you have a new land and you're setting up your new business, you probably want to have make friends and start a village, a trusted tribe of sorts, right? And then from there, you start building out and you feel out the market and you start building out the solutions that can meet the market faster. So if we're all trying to move faster from an AI standpoint, we've seen waves that missed. The simple GPT wrappers, that business came and gone in 6 months, right? And then when you talk to enough people and you're plugged into the market, you understand what stays, what's hype, what's substance, and the partners that you can work with, right, to build new solutions for the future.
And is this really the driving force behind your AI infra event, is attracting the best to the table?
It is. Yeah. So bringing conversations together is this constant theme. So even we have a CXO roundtable, we're going to bring the enterprise on one side of the table. Let's say if there's 5 enterprise executives, and we'll bring the big tech guys on the other side of the table, Microsoft, AMD, and we're going to talk about these are my problems, this is how I would solve it. And who actually said that they would be most interested to be in that room are the devs, who are the builders of it. They want to see this conversation between enterprise and big tech because they're the ones that's tasked to build this, right? So that was just an example of how do we bring together these people that normally don't talk to each other for a shared goal, a common goal, and then get a better outcome.
So we have in our audience, I would put them in 3 buckets. We have observers and onlookers, right? And we have service providers, which are part of the ecosystem, onlookers who are interested in this space. We have founders who will utilize these services, and we have investors. If you look at from their perspective, if they're engaging with AI infra, what can they expect? What would attract investors to this event? What would attract startups to this event? And then the onlookers as well as service providers, which I think are all part of the game.
Yeah, I think coming together and seeing where the collective wisdom is really important, right? So we can see where the puck is moving. So for investors, they want to be with other investors looking at and talking about the right problems, right? It's not just startups, but what part of infrastructure and why would you do that? And there's different hold periods for land and power, data center, and then also an application startup, right? And then that kind of knowledge is hard to get online, right? Unless you're kind of in your own echo chamber. So for investors, I think it's really important to kind of be in hey, what's happening next conversation. For founders, it's really important to also know what's happening next, just to make sure that the puck didn't move without you. You're not building something in the corner, in the shadows for 2 years that was already solved 3 times on that floor. That gives you market feedback, right?
Yeah. So how can people learn a little bit more about AI infra coming up May 2nd, right?
May 2nd. Yeah. And did you hear that we have a great MC running the show that day?
Say more.
AJ Thomas.
Yeah.
AJ Thomas.
She's,
actually, I joke. It's AJ Thomas and Brian Sparks. So, we're not going to leave that out. I'm trying to make my teammates better. Yeah,
I love it.
Anybody that's interested, go to aiinfra.live, Live, or you can always go to our website, ignitegtm.com, and you can find out more information. And you can always find me on LinkedIn.
I love it. All right. Well, we're not wrapping up yet because we're going to ask some more questions. But Rohan, I want to pivot back to you. One of the questions I was asking you during the break, it's just a general question I actually ask all my guests. What's the win for you coming up today and maybe a few months down the line?
Really just to get the word out. I'm looking for Pitch Mayhem to be a model that can be replicated outside of Nevada. Right now, we're focused with that ecosystem, but the goal for me is just to get the word out, share more with the people that are listening, what Pitch Mayhem is, what it can be, and what it will be.
And so who in our audience would be a good candidate to connect with you?
Investors and founders.
Investors and founders.
Investors that are interested in potentially co-investing with the state's venture arm, the state of Nevada, as well as founders that are looking and open to relocating to the state of Nevada.
And so you go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was going to ask, what are the opportunities for co-investing with the state of Nevada? I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Oh, good question, Brian.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, so what we're working on right now is creating a new fund with Battleborn, which is the state's venture arm, looking for LPs, looking for investors that are interested in de-risking their funds by working with the government, working with research universities and econ agencies. That's the new model I see, right? Trying to de-risk your investment by working with a market that truly is going to roll out the red carpet for a founder to not only make sure that they have the village, the ecosystem, but they have the resources to make sure they thrive.
And so you've also, just maybe double click on this and expand out, you've been working on, I mean, this is where it begins, is Nevada's begin, but you're looking to do this all over the country, if not all over the world.
Absolutely. What I'm seeing from the events I've created, doing the road tour and whatnot, there's all these emerging ecosystems that are trying to replicate and be like Silicon Valley, not necessarily copycat, but they're now seeing we have the resources, we have the buy-in. It takes first the government to kind of put their foot down and say, hey, you know what, we want to start diversifying our economy. What does that look like? How do we incorporate tech within our economy? The Midwest is doing it a lot. You hear about Tulsa, you hear about what happened in Austin, Buffalo, New York, like all of these new initiatives to get founders to relocate. I'm looking for Pitch Mayhem to be one of those program initiatives that has a particular model to help emerging ecosystems throughout the country at first, but throughout the world to actually attract tech talent and grow and cultivate their ecosystem.
Would you be open to, if one of these cities reached out to you, doing a pilot with them and doing a pitch to kind of meet the stakeholders?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And so you're looking at, so what else? Anything else on the win front?
No, always looking to connect. You can find me on LinkedIn, Rohan Brown. I think I'm the only Rohan Brown on LinkedIn. Or, email me, rohan@pitchmayhem.com.
I love it. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But looking to you, Bill, I mean, I asked the same question of you during the break. What you just got done talking about AI infra. I mean, you got the fund of funds, the event coming up, big community. We do the founders and funders, a lot going on with you guys. What would be a big win for you immediately and also maybe within the next 6 months?
Yeah, so a big win. I mean, today's goal is just to get the word out, and thank you for talking a little bit of infrastructure, and I could talk about it all day. But if we can inspire people on why it's important, you don't have to know all the pieces, but you kind of know how the concepts come together, because that will help you if you're a founder. That'll help you kind of know what pieces you have to build and scale. Mm-hmm. So just getting the word out today, I think that's a win. We're focusing on this show for May 2nd, then we're going to be in in Atlanta on May 15th for a CXO AI for Retail event. And then there's a few other things that's exciting in the calendar for the summer. So, we're kind of in a mode right now where, where our superpowers can have the greatest impact. Mm-hmm. We're going to that. So there's like a potential event in LA on July 4th that we might be co-collaborating with some folks on.
July 4th, you're going holiday event, huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a celebrity basketball game. So we'll see if that comes together. But that's new. That's interesting, right?
What, you got team set? Like, what's up?
Do you play?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, let's talk about it. So, I could share with you more information. So the idea was the first day will be at this technology investing day, and then we would help produce that, and then I think it was a barbecue and then a big LA type of party Friday night, celebrity golf on Saturday, celebrity basketball on Sunday. Again, that doesn't really that wouldn't be typical of what we do, but I have a different purpose that, we need to build a closer bridge with our brothers in SoCal, right? Because together we make the right brain, left brain type of thing work, especially for AI, So, we're those are kind of just bigger things on the horizon.
Yeah, and you said something a little bit about Atlanta too. Talk about that, because it's a CXO event. There was a great event down in LA. We did talk a little bit more about that.
Right. So our partner, Supermicro, hired us to put together these CXO roadshows. And the idea is we're going to be talking about AI transformation for a particular vertical, right? So Nobody's 10 steps ahead when it comes down to AI implementation. So some people are 2 or 3 steps ahead. And then the idea is, can we bring those folks in for a conversation? So it's a half-day event. We'll get 10 to 12 different logos in the space. So for retail, think about kind of your traditional Campbell's soup, Oreo. We're trying to get those kind of guys there. And let's talk about, what are they implementing for AI? That's interesting, right? Like, how does AI move Campbell's soup forward? Like, I think in general, like American lore, that's like an interesting conversation. But then, we are supporting a Supermicro and NVIDIA on this. So what we want to do is also build a bridge. So those that are ready to start their AI transformation journey, we'll have partners there, cloud partners, Supermicro, NVIDIA, and we help nurture that evolution.
I love it. I love it. Well, you both are doing amazing things. I can geek out with both of you for hours, for days. I've been both geeking out with you, Bill, for a few years now. Love it. I want to thank you both for being here today. Before I go, I think you did mention, Bill, how can people connect with you? Was that on LinkedIn?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn.
Okay. And Rohan, double down on how can people connect with you?
LinkedIn, Rohan Brown, and email me at rohan@pitchmayhem.com.
I love it. I love it. I think, Brian, that covers it for today.
Okay, man.
All right. I want to thank you all for joining us. Had 2 rock stars on today, Bill Berry, Rohan Brown. Thank you both for being here.
Brian, you're so amazing.
This show's going to go longer. You keep saying things like that. All right. We'll see you all soon. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.